Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello, hello. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. If you're just traveling through because you saw the thumbnail, welcome. I am live, so I am going to try to say hello to people in the chat. So you know that we are going to be in the Edgar Cayce companion material. Beloved stars, I think we're done with the Edgar Cayce Earth Changes book. I read the whole book, I read all the material, and I presented to you already kind of what is needed to be known, because the majority of that book, sincerely, was actually more about what was about to happen, about like World War II and whatnot. So a lot of the predictions, a lot of what was said, we've already gone through. We've already witnessed it. We've already experienced it. It's in our history books. So we covered a lot of what people would have wanted out of that material. So, beloved stars, good to see Chloe in. Good to see Lori in. I did the same old that I always do. I read a bunch of stuff, 6, 7 pages, and I'm like, oh, that's a great show. And then I go back and I review it. That's why I was a couple minutes late just now. And I realize, oh my goodness, Courtney, that's like 3 shows. I do it all the time. I do it with everything. It's what I do. So I do believe that to serve everyone well enough, I do believe that I should break this up. It's probably going to be a two-parter. So subscribe now, hit that thumbs up so everybody can see it. Oh, and Seeker's in the house. Good to see you, my dear. Tonight we're covering it's tonight for part 1. We're covering the individuality versus personality. And then so part 2 would be more of his readings on human free will. I mean, there might be a little bit of talk about it, but to cram it all into one, it'd be quite a lot, folks. So that is what we're covering tonight. All right, beloveds, we will be on page. So if you're new here in my live, I read a bit, I give some commentary, I read a bit more, I give some commentary. I might, like I said, say hello to those in the chat. We're live here and we're a community here. We enjoy each other. And guys, it has been a long time. It's been a very long time. So if you're catching this later when it's not live, I appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up, please. And you might want to just kind of, scroll through, move the bar a little bit, go in about 5-10 minutes of the video to get into the meat of the matter. Are you guys talking about how you just saw the link for this right now? Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to actually get to you sooner, but the heat has been making everybody's electronics wonky. And blessed be to everybody out there. This August has been difficult for everyone, either with the fires or the heat or the very impressive storms that have been rolling through. We haven't seen this stuff in a while. Once again, the pole shift, everybody. Did you see the articles about how the Arctic was 90 degrees? Antarctica, 90 degrees. It's the shift of the poles, beloveds. We've all done this before. We can do it again, and we can do it so much more gracefully and with compassion for self and others, and cooperation with humanity and the earth. We can do it. We can definitely do it. And I know the stars here know all about it. So kudos to you. The section we're going to start in actually is about it's the tail end of the section about the law of attraction, which became very popular when The Secret came out in the early 2000s, what have you, became very popular. which is good and groovy. There's just more to it. There's just more to it. So this is the tail end of the section of the law of attraction into individuality is the personality of God. So we're just going to begin reading, okay? Souls in their variety experiences are again and again drawn together by the natural law of attractive forces for the activity towards what? Question mark. The development of the soul to the one purpose, the one cause, to be companion with the first cause. Then the entity here contacts in materiality those of its own body, those of its own condition. It is for the development of each in its associations one to another towards the first cause. So what they're really talking about here is how we think of soul contracts, guys. How we think of those people in our life, good, bad, or indifferent, that they're really there to help elevate us in some way back to that first cause, the development of the soul to the one purpose, the one cause, the first cause. The law that is ever present, like attracts like begets like. In astrological aspects, the natural attraction, law of attraction, or law of repulsion becomes manifested. So they don't talk about the law of repulsion anywhere, do they? For separate for separated from the body, the mind and the soul are drawn to that influence manifested. Just as in the material world, those that are thinking alone the same lines, should be along the same lines, or who are of individual achievement, are drawn to those sources from which help or stimulate influences at the hand. So they're talking about because now we're going to get into the individuality versus the personality. Did did you guys even think there would be a difference between the individuality and the personality? You as an individual and your personality? There's a big difference. There's huge differences. But we did need to talk a little bit about how the law of attraction, and I'm assuming everybody knows what the law of attraction and how it quote unquote works. I'm assuming everybody has a general idea about that. I don't think people know about repulsion though, and how all of it is an expression. There are those about us, many soul bodies, those upon whom the thought of an individual, the whole being of an individual, is attracted to by that element of thought, just the same as the action in the material body. For remember, we are patterned one as of another. We are patterned one, I am as you are. So here's the question. That was a part of an answer for something with the law of attraction. Now we're really getting into it, folks. So here's a question. Will you explain the laws of attraction and repulsion? Answer. So this answer is coming from the Akashic. If you haven't been here before, we cover Edgar Cayce's bio, which I'm going to be recording another one of that soon. I believe it's going to come out Sunday. We do Edgar Cayce's bio, and we also record or do live streams within his source materials, and a lot of his source materials are Q&A. It's questions that were asked to the Akashic, and then they wrote down the answers that came through Edgar. So that is where we're at. And the question was, will you explain the laws of attraction and repulsion? Answer. There are atomic vibrations. And as there is the breaking up of each element in its forces and forms, there is produced the attraction or repulsion. All of uranium elements are an attractive force for those influences that produce the same. You see, platinum and all mercury products are attracted to uranium. So they brought it into science for us for a minute. Like they're saying, go down to the little molecules that are also you, right? We're made of matter. So the atomic vibrations. A vibration is going to be attracted to another similar or um one equal to or one that vibrates nicely with, right? That's going to work well together. Law of attraction. Easy. Easy peasy. That's why they always say if you want something, attune yourself to it. The vibration. If you want something, attune yourself to it so you are ready to receive it. I talk more about heal yourself. So if when it does come, it doesn't get all muckety muck. And in the meantime, stop attracting everything that's repulsive because that's what is going on, right? When we're unhealed. Because the repulsive energy that's within us that needs to be healed is actually attracting more repulsive stuff. And now it gets into the individual, and repulsing also means that if something does not resonate, it just it's repulsed. It's no, and we all understand this, and I try to tell people often that one way we can understand this is our voice. As my voice starts getting wonky, it's our voice. Our voice is one of our hugest energy identifying markers. Our voice, right? It's sound. It's how each one of us sounds. So let's say you have a coworker that for some reason their voice, you just it's not the coworker's not bad. They're fine. Ain't nothing wrong with them. But like you just to hear them talk like makes your head hurt. That means that your energy is not in companionship with that coworker's energy. That's it. That's okay. That you two don't resonate together. That's fine. But it is going to then repulse, right? So we have to be aware of these things because then we might accidentally roll our eyes. We might be walking away way too much because we can't handle the voice. So we have to be conscious, and that's when the next part will come in with the human free will and choice. We have to be conscious of these things as to why do I keep walking away from this person? They didn't do anything to me. Well, it's because you probably don't resonate with them. That's okay. That's okay. They resonate with a bunch of other people. But that is how vibration and sound and whatnot works. So notice what you're noticing about that. What feels good, what doesn't feel good. The individuality is that with which ye live yourself, your inner self. And this is deep, far reaching. Know that in patience, you become aware of the soul, and the body, and the mind, and the soul are one. They live together. Your personality is the material expression, and your individuality is the personality of the soul. I'll read that again because it's about to be broken down, folks. So I'm going to read that again. Your personality is the material expression, and your individuality is the personality of the soul. Personalities in the material plane arise from the application of the entity's urges in the earthly journeys. Individualities arise from what an entity would or does about the entity's ideal in the material experience. So remember, beloveds, we all, us entities, if you haven't heard that before, that is what they call us. They call actually everything is an entity of some sort, right? So us humans, us that have souls, you beautiful stars, we had long, long, long ago, however many lives you've lived, whenever you decide to come, because you made the choice, I can't wait until we talk about it. Whenever you made that choice to come here, you had an ideal. They use that term a lot, an ideal. Us humans, we like to use the word purpose. It's not really so much the same thing, but they like to use the word ideal. You had an ideal. Edgar Cayce would have said that was your ticket in. That was your golden ticket in. You had some great ideal as to why you want to be here. And so the individuality of one entity is what they said. The individualities arise from what an entity would or does about the entity's ideal in the material experience. While individuality and personality here may war at times, one with another, then the individual makes the personality of the divine manifested in the personality of the entity. And the individuality of the entity becomes one with the personality of God. We will find the attaining to that same experience as attained in the Holy Land. I'm going to keep going, beloveds. The gift of God to man is an individual soul that may be one with him and that may know itself to be one with him, yet individual in itself, with the attributes of the whole, yet not the whole. Personality is that seen by others. Individuality is that which shines out from within, separating one from the other. Though one may be but a dot, that dot remains ever individual. Though it may be in line with many lines, yet it, the individual entity, the gift of the creative energy, that would have animations to be within itself, yet a portion of the whole. The nearer one becomes to that, the nearer one becomes to that which will give its individuality, yet losing itself in the whole. The more the more individuality one attains. Whew, that was a lot to read in a lot of words, right? So, and I see Big Dad standing tall came in. Good to see you, my dear. So, that was a lot of words. What they are talking about here, folks. I'm gonna kind of work my way from the bottom back up. The nearer, so the closer one becomes to that which will give its individuality, yet loses itself in the whole, the more individuality one attains. So our personalities, they had said it, our personalities is that seen by others. So right now, you see how I talk, you see how I move. Many of you have talked with me privately and we've laughed. You know, I've made side comments. That's my personality. I love joking. I love joking. I'm an August 6th Leo, and that time period of Leo are pretty much known for they love to make jokes and laugh and have a good time. I'm always looking to have a good time. That's my personality. Is that my identity? No, no. And we're going to learn that they will say even anything as, in as far as like birth charts and astronomy, that that that's nothing compared to the free will that is your identity. So that's my personality. You guys are seeing it right now. You're seeing how I move, how I talk, how I think, whatever I do, right? Is that my identity? No. My identity is my ideal. My identity is actually why I'm recording right now, why I'm in front of you right now. That's my identity is I'm in front of you right now. There's a reason why. Other than that, now you have nothing but personality. But that doesn't mean that my identity is not here with me. But oftentimes in this world, we see personalities. We see personas. We see, especially with social media, we see a lot of personality, even made up personality. That has nothing to do with the ideal as to why that soul originally decided to come in the first place. But it's interesting because the part that I read as to when you get closer, when one becomes closer to that which will give its individuality. And what we're going to find out that's the will, the human free will, which they're also going to say is unique to us. When one gets closer to that, yet loses itself in the whole, the more individuality one attains. And this is that concept of, are you a drop of water in the ocean? And I've brought this up a lot on this channel more recently. So Rumi once said, and I'm going to probably botch this quote, um, we're not just a drop of water in the ocean, we're the entire ocean in a drop. Yet many people think that they're a drop of water in the ocean when we're the entire ocean in a drop. But when you really study any vistas or even Sufism, when you really study, or just Rumi, when you really study it, there's a whole nother layer to that of the drop of that water that is actually the whole ocean in a drop. In order to see the ocean within, has to dissolve itself completely. And that is what they're talking about here. Losing itself in the whole, the more individuality one attains. Because individuality it supersedes personality. It's your ticket in. It's what links you to that creative force that people refer to as source or God. They're going to say God a lot in this. It's your individuality that links you to that. I will keep reading. Personality is that which others to think and see. Oh, sorry. They are still using a lot of Old English in this dialect, because this was recorded, beloveds. This might have been recorded in, I don't know the time frame, but it was at the turn of the century. So, oh my goodness. Personality is that ye wish others to think and see. And so it's what you want others to think and see. It's what you would like people to see you as. Individuality is that your soul's individuality is that your soul prays, your soul hopes for, desires. They need not necessarily be one, but their purpose must be one. Even as the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit are one, so must body, mind, and soul be one in purpose and aim. And as you ask, believing, so it is done unto thee. The individuality is the motivative force of innate desires, while secular forces are motivated more in the personality. So innate desires, back to that core reason why you're here, what you really care about, why you're here. So guys, I'm going to break it down to you personally. And we've talked about it here before. And like what I just said, the reason I am before you right now, that's part of my ideal. So that's a part of my identity. Stars of the Morning Light is part of my identity. The reason why I'm before you now. How I present things, that is my personality. And it's hard in this world to separate the two because people believe what they perceive, right? We believe what we perceive. So oftentimes, because I don't talk in a manner of which, or I don't present all of my identity, I don't present all of that to the masses. It might be hard to understand the word or hard to accept the words that come out of my mouth as to be real, as to this is how I think, this is how I feel, this is how I live, especially when it comes to like manifesting, which manifesting, as we're going to learn, is just the expression of your will. It's not that hard. But to really truly believe in the words that are coming out of my mouth, people I don't think often get there because the personality gets in the way. And I'm not going to change the personality because it's the easiest for me. I'm not going to flippy flop stuff and be something that it's not. So it can be easier for others to obtain, right? The knowledge aspect of what I'm doing. And really, as we're going to learn, it's beautiful when the personality and individuality are together, that they're working for the same goal, the same aim, but they don't necessarily have to be. And you can also, like I said, you can present one way, but behind closed doors, it can be very different. Like you guys have probably no idea that I spend days in silence. Days in silence. And you wouldn't figure that because I'm here. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to everybody. I'm just talk, 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 talk. No, days of silence. Days upon days of silence. And even with a husband, because that's what he does. We are two silent beings that just roam about. It's beautiful. But we wouldn't assume that because of the personality that's before you. But that silence is a part of my ideal. It's part of my identity. So let's keep going. But that's how I can kind of break it down because I don't, we all do that. Who showed up to work today for you? Your personality or your ideal? Your ideal is your identity. So who showed up to work? I I have a feeling the personality did. I have a feeling the personality did. That's what I feel. I think that's how most people would answer. Okay, moving forward. The individuality is the motivative force of innate desires, while secular forces are the motive more in the personality. The individuality of the soul must be lost in the personality of the Christ in God. Thus, this become these become unified then in their activities. So they're talking about like the Christ consciousness. So let me rephrase this. The individuality of the soul must be lost in the personality of the Christ consciousness. These become unified then in their activities. For the purpose of the entity's entrance into earth. Did you catch that? For the purpose of man's, I'll just say man, human, for the purpose of an entity's entrance into earth is to manifest the personality of God in the own individuality and personality. No, no. So know this. No urge surpasses the individual will of an entity, that birthright of each soul, that gift of the creative forces that makes or causes the individuality in an entity, the ability to know itself, to be itself, and yet one with the creative force. Nothing surpasses. No urge surpasses. Nothing surpasses the individual will of an entity. So the individual will of an entity, comma, that birthright of each soul, comma, that gift of the creative forces that makes or causes the individuality in an entity, comma, the ability to know itself, to be itself, and yet one with the creative forces. That is when they just said to be uh the gift of God to man is an individual soul that may be one with him, and that may know itself to be one with him, and yet individual in itself, with the attributes of the whole, yet not the whole. For those influences or forces entered as those influences and forces entered that took man away from him, then it was from that consciousness or spirit that the individuality has its source, its essence, its influence that might be made a personality in its activity. This may be termed as a true definition of the two. Personality personality leadeth. So personality leads. Individuality commandeth. So individuality commands. And this is all happening within you. So my individuality is what puts me in front of you right now. That makes me go, "Oh, okay, at 8:30 at night, I gotta be with the stars. I just gotta be with the stars. I haven't been there in a long time. I love them. I need to do this. I want to do this. I have a message. Let's go." Who leads me there, though, who gets me here at 8:30 is the personality. Individuality commandeth, not as man call command, quote unquote, obey, or obeyeth through or obeyeth through fear, but command and command being near the same term. I just gave expression to that. It's the force within you. What your will really is calling for you to do. But the personality tends, because we allow the personality to lead, that is usually why we're always in conflict internally. Because you have the individuality that the will is attached to. Oh my goodness, this is what I want. This is what I should be doing. I hate the word should, by the way. This, right? But then the personality is the one that goes, we got to pay the bills. We got to take care of grandma. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to show up this way. We got to play the game right. We got to play the game. So because the personality leads and does the activities, it's always struggling usually within us humans with the actual identity. And this is why, beloveds, we're seeing actual expressions of the internal battle happening externally. We're seeing it all over the place. The internal battle happening externally, and it's because of the time we're living in, when the human free will has been suppressed for so long. It's ready to pop. It's ready to say, hey, I am actually one of the most mightiest forces ever known, because my force, my will is exactly the same as God's will, as in creation itself. We'll learn about it. That which a conscious mind does with pleasure becomes part of the entity's personality. The understanding of the body in the material inversions as to the laws of a particular experience, making for that termed as scenery to the entity. Jeez. Of this, okay. Give me just a minute, folks. They just said think on that, so I better read this right. That which a conscious mind does with pleasure becomes a part of the entity's personality. The understanding of a body in the material aversions as to the laws of a particular experience, comma, making for that termed as sincerity of the entity of the soul pertaining to the law that is known is the soul's personality. Think on that. Well, thank you for telling us to think on that. I think we understand this, beloveds, that it's the pleasures. Actually, the Christ consciousness talked about this. Everybody talks about this. Every master talks about the pleasures of the flesh, right? This is really what they're talking about. And exactly what I was talking about. We allow the personality to lead. Well, the personality is going to like all the good times. The personality's got, I just told you, I love good times. I love laughing. I love good times. I love how my personality is. I love what my personality's into. I love the music I listen to. That's personality. And because we allow it to lead, that's what they're talking about. But it's not a bad thing because eventually it can become the expression of the individual itself. The entity is an individual itself that is its personality, its individuality are nearer one and the same than you will find in one but a million. You have practiced peace first within yourself. So, how do we bring those two together? You practice peace first within yourself. Days of silence. Astrological influences are but the mental urges that arise and become as the individuality of the entity in expression in the material world, while the appearances in the earth are as but the personality in the entity's experience and are as the urges from the emotions that have been created. As spirit, he, man, so they're talking about us, as spirit pushed his individuality into matter and began to express or manifest personal influence for self, comma, for ease, comma, for comfort, comma, for those things that would enable the individuality or the individual entity to in matter lord over others. So, as spirit pushed his individuality, his will, his creative force, his creative force into matter, your body, matter. as you projected as you projected with your will that beautiful stream of consciousness into matter, as you pushed it in there, and began to express or manifest personal influence for self, for ease, for comfort. They started listening to all this stuff to uh, lord over others. That which one would pretend to be and isn't indeed sin. So they're saying it's our personality, not our individuality, our personality that creates quote unquote sin. And really, beloveds, even before I read this, I will tell you, like a week ago, as I'm silent, doing what I do, um, the thought came to me that, I can't stand the idea of original sin. It's not because it's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's not at all. But if you want to put it into like the simplest terms, my thought literally was, geez, I wish people would understand that original sin never existed. What did exist is they don't exercise their human free will. Period. And it's because we allow the personalities to lead and then lord over others and tell us what's easy and comfortable and how to enjoy things and yada yada. All the while, the will that's attached to our individuality, the ideal as to why we came in the first place, keeps getting pushed back and back and back. And we're not utilizing that will that is creation. That is, if you want to manifest, manifest. There is no thing as original sin other than we do things because we're not manifesting. We do things because we give our will and our power over to something else, which then creates chaos all around. Anyways, that was a little side note. I really wish people would. And I've been talking about it for at least 5 years on this channel, so it's not like my tune is changing. The human free will is amazing. It's amazing. God meant man to be free, and thus gave man will, and will to even defy God. To be free is to gain the knowledge necessary to lose the bonds that bind one, whether they be mental, physical, or spiritual. Please remember that, beloveds. To be free is to gain the knowledge necessary to lose the bonds that bind one, whether they be mental, physical, or spiritual. When you know the truth shall indeed set you free. Free from what? That of self. For thou not God-given freedom of choice to every soul, and it is the heritage of every man, every soul, freedom. And they have a big exclamation, freedom. One may be free indeed in thought, though the body may be bound in chains, and be much more free than those who are chained by their own consciousness. Y'all, that is actually deep. We all know about those bound in the chains of flesh, right? The body. We're bound in the body, right? And everybody talks about this. Get over the chains that bind the body, all your addictions, all the sweet foods, all of this, all of that, right? Ah. One may be free indeed in thought, though the body may be bound in chains. One may be free in thought, though the body may be bound in chains, and be much more free than those who are chained by their own consciousness. So you actually got the people that are free in thought, but no, they got some body. They got some body things. They like their personalities. Like, yeah, I like it. Their personalities like, oh, whatever. Let's live it up. But their mind is free. They are the most free. And out of all of it, they're even more free than those who are bound and chained to their own consciousness. Hmm. Yeah, that would suck. Every form of manifestation of expression of the spirit of a time, of a place, of a condition, of an individual, of a group, of a country, of a nation, is the attempt of that individual, group, or nation to give expression of self or its God. The creative influence in every herb, mineral, vegetable, or individual activity is that same force you call God and seeks expression. Life is, in all its manifestations, in every animated force, creative force in action, and is the love of expression, or expressing that life, truth, becoming a result of life's love expressed. For these are but names, unless experienced in the consciousness of each soul. And they really mean that. For these are just names. Creative force, manifestations, love, expressions. all of this, they were like, none of this will make sense to you. They're just words unless you truly understand what it is to create, to use and understand that every moment, your life, your body and form, the life that you live, the laws of attraction that bring it in, that repulse it, all of it, everything that happens is an expression of your will. And when we can finally understand that and know that our will as a human, the unique human free will, is that creative force that everybody calls source or calls God. That, once we can wrap our head around that, which, cool, please do. Once we can do that, then those words will actually mean something to us. And that is how I can say love is actually in everything. Even the worst of the worst you could possibly think of, love is in it because you wouldn't have the creative force that created the cause, created the situation, created any of it in the first place without love in it. Because love is in that creative force. Our will is that creative force within us. It is what attaches us to. And remember, it's also our ideal why we chose to be here. Because here we can have that human free will to create and create and create and like be just as awesome. All these little gods running around doing things, creating things, poof, 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 doing, creating, showing up. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And everything's an expression of it. Everything is an expression. In the beginning, all souls that were as portions of the thought of God were given the opportunity for expression as to be companions for that creative force or God. Creative force, God, same thing. I'll read that again. In the beginning, all souls that were as portions of the thought of God were given the opportunity for expression as to be companions for that creative force. See in the raindrop, the storm, all nature, and even in those ugly things people's lives. So, all the ugly things in our lives. The desire for expression rather than the hate and turmoil and the disorders. For all are seeking expression. So, all is seeking to be presented, to be an expression. The plant, the beautiful rose, the $20 bill in your pocket, the bad guy on the corner, the really good piece of chocolate cake, the best lover you've ever had. All of these, the car accident when you were 12, whatever, all of them is a force that wants to be expressed, and it comes through our will. It's all, everything wants to be expressed. Everything wants to be created. So it's awesome that we're like little creators, right? And we can just pick and choose and we can maybe stop creating with our personality and create more with our identities, right? Our individualities, right? Our ideals. The soul enters in to make manifest its concept of, comma, its own concept of, comma, the first cause, to make manifest itself, or as it were, it has flown out from its source to try its wings. Such a good line. And I was thinking about leaving it here tonight. I have said it in different readings, especially yearly readings here from the Akashic. And it always says, humans do have wings. And I'll usually, when I'm repeating a message, I'll say the message, humans do have wings. And then I'll usually, with commentary, say something along the lines of like, that represents a lot of things, folks. Moving on, right? Moving on. But take this in. Take this in. The soul enters in. So you pushed your way into this matter. The soul enters in to make manifest its concepts of, its own concept of the first cause. You could say the first cause is the first thought. You can say it as, the vibration that penetrated into the darkness, the word, the light, the vibration, the sound. First thought, first cause. It's all creation, by the way. It's literally all creation. Creation makes it much easier. To make manifest itself, or, as it were, it has flown out from its source to try its wings. Isn't that lovely? We pushed our way into this matter. We projected ourselves. We flew. We were trying out our wings of destiny. We're trying out our wings of creation. And we flew into and pushed ourselves into this body of form many a times over. Why? To manifest its concepts of. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. To manifest its concept of creation. Like, what do I think creation is? What can I do with it? What does it do? Do I roll in a little ball? Do I throw it up in the air? What do I do? What do I do with creation? Let's see. To make manifest its concept of what can I do with all this creation? Its own concept of awesome, the first thought or the first cause. The first cause is creation. It's awesome. So I am going to leave it on that, but I'm just so you guys know. I wanted to, because we're going to have to do a part 2 to this. We are going to have to do a part 2 to this. And on the next page, you beautiful flying stars. I was hoping to find the place. Oh, right here. So this will be more into next time. And this is why I can always say the human free will. It is very unique. And it's so badass. It is so badass to know that if we would just dissolve ourselves into the whole, yet stay an individual with our individuality ideal, if we would just dissolve into the whole so we can know that we can know that we are pure creation and we can do all the things without any limits because we're a limitless being and live that way through our ideal that brought us here, which is really our identity, and experience creation to its fullest because we have this awesome thing called human free will. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to let you guys go because we're going to talk about that in part 2. This is definitely now going to have a part 2. Will. So your will of man, free will, all of it, that beautiful will, right? Freedom. Freedom is great, and God wants us to be free. And remember, even a body that is bound in chains, if the mind is free, it is free indeed, compared to those whose minds are not. So, will is given to man over and above all creation. That force which may separate itself from its maker. For with will, man may either adhere or contradict the divine law, those immutable laws which are set between the creator and the created. But what is will? That which makes for that which makes for the dividing line between the infinite and the finite, the divine and the wholly human, meaning complete human, the carnal and the spiritual. For the will may be for the will may be made one with him, and for self alone. With the will, then does man disdain in the activities of the material experience how he shall make for the relationships with truth. We are going to start going into that in part 2 of this. Your will. How it creates all the expressions that want to be created. We call them experiences, which is beautiful because we're experiencing them as a human, but our individuality, which is very attached to our will, which our will is that creative force, that portion of God within that is here creating, if we acknowledge it or not, that will creates these experiences, how he shall make the relationships with truth. How he shall make the relationships with truth. That's amazing, right? That's amazing. And it goes back to why we were here in the first place. Yeah. So, beloveds, I know I kind of did a little bit of tongue twisting here and there. Sometimes it's not so easy because what I'm actually trying to do is take out the old English while I'm reading. While I'm reading, I'm trying to switch out words or like old words that we don't use anymore, like sojourn. We just say journey now. So as I'm reading out loud to you, I'm also trying to I'm trying to replace words, remove words, this and that, because you're hearing it in Old English is not the best to hear. So I do get tongue tied sometimes because of that. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope everybody had a good time in the chat, and I hope this did help. We're going to definitely get into the next part here very soon. I'll be able to do this by next week, to really dive deep into will, the human free will. Did you hear that? That there's nothing greater, really. Not that we're going to find here. And so now you can maybe, those who have been with me for a long time, and together here at Stars of Morning Light, maybe you guys can now understand why I continuously talk about the power of choice and the human free will. It is the most amazing thing that we have. And that is the center of, if we can really wrap our head around it and take ownership of it. I can't wait until we talk about this next time. When we take ownership of it, then we live every experience and expression how we see fit. It's beautiful. I can't wait. So thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Lori, for coming in. I hope you had a good time. Did Jacob come in? Oh, I see Jacob. There you go, darling. So thank you everybody for listening. And I do apologize, like I said, for a little bit of the tongue rolling and having to pause sometimes. It's sometimes not the easiest to read out loud when I'm trying to switch things out. I love you all so dear. Do enjoy. That's the greatest part you can do here. And have fun, beloveds. And next time, I think the message will be much smoother because I thought I was going to be talking about Will the whole time. So I'm very excited for next time. I'll talk later with y'all. Cheers, people. Good night, beautiful stars. Love you.